online? Are you salt and light or smoke and manure? Hi, I'm Darren Wright from 12 Church, where we are trying to figure out how to be disciples who make disciples in this time and this place. And yes, the fulfillment of that mission probably needs to include social media because that's where the people are. But we've got to be wise and careful the way we go about it, not brain dead. Otherwise, we risk becoming smoke and manure online, not salt and light. There was recently a federal election here in Canada where I live, and I produced a video, a masterpiece, that really took a shot at a political leader. It was designed to ridicule, to expose, to mock, and maybe change minds, but really it was more of a venting for me. My wife took a look at it and she liked it. But when I asked if I should post it publicly, she went, nah. And guys, you know when your wife goes, nah, you know what that means. I sent it to a friend who has the same political views as I do and asked him about whether I should post it. He also liked the video but said, you shouldn't post it publicly because it will interfere with what you're doing online. I'm glad I listened to them. I did send it to a few friends, but I personally did not post it publicly. One of my earliest memories of Facebook several years ago was one morning I got up and there was in my feed 2 posts from 2 different people. And the first post said, "Morning, how I loathe you." And the post right below that one said, "I feel a glorious day about to begin." And that really underscored for me how there are different kinds of people on Facebook and reputations get built on Facebook, and you start to anticipate positively or negatively different people on Facebook. Who would you rather spend time with? Morning, I loathe you, or I feel a glorious day about to begin? Well, I know which one I'd pick, at least in the morning. Your posts, your online profile sets a tone, establishes your reputation, your persona online, and it is either positive or negative. It either contributes to the cause of Christ or does not. In the last few years, there's been a lot more political activity online. And in my opinion, the cause of Christ, as well as individual Christians, have been discredited online. In fact, I believe that what's happened online in the past few years has accelerated the decline of the influence of Christianity in our Western culture. Politics by its nature tends to create wedges. And how we go about engaging in politics and discussing such things can also create wedges and break relationships, or actually in some way contribute a positive discussion. You may in fact personally be called to a high level of political activism. There's nothing wrong with that. We need more believers who are wisely politically active, but how we go about it makes all the difference. The ends does not justify the means. There's also been a lot of discussion online in recent years on medical issues and financial issues. And I don't know how much more I want to say about that except to say, just don't. Don't be handing out advice simply by reposting posts that you really don't know much about. Yes, we all have our opinions on medical issues, financial issues. And yes, there's nothing inherently wrong with discussing them, but again, how we go about it makes a huge difference. And as far as investment advice, please don't. Just don't do it. Christians and financial advice online really don't go hand in hand unless you're truly an expert. In fact, I predict, if there isn't already, there will be a Christian cryptocurrency. At least that's the way it will be branded. And it will be promoted by Christians as a sure thing, as, quote, blessed by God, and it will succeed in lightening the wallets of many. Do not be gullible online. Do not parrot everything you hear just because it comes from someone you might sort of agree with on some philosophical issue. And regardless of the topic, don't just repost stuff without checking out the background and where it's coming from. I've seen Christians repost Mormon content, New Age content, content that is clearly unbiblical, clearly contrary to the cause of Christ. But because it's catchy and framed up well, has a ring of profundity to it, we just go ahead and repost it. And in the process of reposting it, we undermine our own witness and the name of Jesus Christ. Be very careful with reposting. I don't know about you, but I regularly mute people and occasionally unfollow and unfriend people who post over-the-top content on politics or medical stuff or health and fitness, whatever it is. People who post over the top, both Christians and non-Christians, I just don't want to see them in my feed. It's stress-inducing. Who needs more stress? No one goes on social media to build up their stress. Now, am I saying that we shouldn't discuss serious matters or even discuss serious matters online? Not at all. But if we do, we should do so carefully and wisely. If you really want to dig into a topic and express your opinion about it, the Facebook feed, the Instagram feed is not the place for it. Do a blog, start a podcast, and really dig and become an expert on a topic. But don't throw out cursory opinions that you haven't researched that create division. Just be very careful about coming across as a one-dimensional person online who obsesses over the latest divisive issue. Nobody wants that person. It helps no one. And over time, no one wants to associate with that kind of person. In case you haven't figured it out already, no one is going to change their mind based on a full frontal assault in social media. It doesn't happen. In the marketing world, the belief is that people buy from those that they know, like, and trust. And we're open to having our opinions changed by people that we know, like, and trust. But the way we often go about these social media debates does not help people like us or trust us at all. An echo chamber is a context where you keep hearing what you're saying. And that's how social media works. You see more of what you believe and less of what you don't believe, less of what you don't like. And so online, you're going to hear more of what you agree with and less of what challenges you. And that's a dangerous situation to be in. We've got to work hard online to hear things that we disagree with so we can actually engage and perhaps stretch our thinking and open our perspective. But most of us, we prefer just to be in that echo chamber, posting things we agree with, reposting things we agree with, liking things we agree with, and we see then less and less of what we disagree with. It's pretty important, and this is true online or offline, to understand and be clear on what you stand for. What exactly do you stand for? And if you're a follower of Jesus Christ, you need to stand for Him. And your call is to be a follower, a disciple of Jesus who makes more disciples, who invites other people to follow Jesus. That's, regardless of what your political, medical, financial views are, that's ultimately what you are called to stand for as a follower of Jesus. And so a fair question to ask ourselves is, what needs to change? What needs to change online and offline for me to be a more effective follower of Jesus, more effective inviting others to follow? And I'm not talking about doing explicit in-your-face evangelism online. I'm simply talking about building relationships. I want to challenge you to take a look at your posts, whatever social media you use. Take a look at your posts, go through them and evaluate them based on these things. Are they positive or negative? Do they communicate love or hate? Are they divisive or unifying? Do they make you come across as attractive or repulsive? Are you attacking people or challenging ideas? There's a difference. I think a lot of us just need to go through our feeds and clean them up like we're washing our face and blowing our nose and brushing our teeth and just getting rid of the dirt that misrepresents who we are and what we stand for. I'd encourage you also to quit following people who are negative, who are divisive, regardless of what they believe. They might even be believers, but because of their posture, your association with them reflects back on you. And maybe you need to consider going off social media, or at least some versions of social media. Pulling back, at least, maybe pulling the plug completely. This is especially important if you find yourself obsessed. And here's a clue. Do you have notifications coming to your phone? Social media notifications? If you do, that's a clue that you're probably over-engaged and need to pull back. Think back to my friends, one of whom loathed the morning, and the other who saw a glorious day about to begin. Which person do you want to be online? What tone do you want to bring? I want to be the person people are happy to see in their feed, not because we necessarily agree on everything, but because with whatever I say and do, I at least bring some grace and some hope and some love and some thoughtfulness to what I'm saying. I don't want to pretend I do that perfectly, but that is an aspiration. And I invite you to make it your aspiration. One of my dreams is that in restaurants on Sundays, waitresses will be glad to see the after-church crowd because they are so gracious and they tip so well that they'll fight to work that shift, which is, of course, the opposite of what often happens. In the same way, I would like to see a situation where believers online, because of their positivity and their grace and their thoughtful reflection on critical issues, are welcome in anybody's feed, even those who disagree with them. Who you are online is often who you are. Do you like what you see? More salt and light, less smoke and manure.